says solve as indicated. Oh, we'll do my favorite student, good old Anne. Yo, is my screen still frozen? You're going, what the heck is going on? There we go. Anne Serkey. Cannonball is dropped. See, as soon as I see that, I know this. Oh, and we're in free fall, so I know that. I can't call those no-brainers because you have to know some physics, but hopefully at this stage, Braden, they're kind of no-brainers. And, oh, I'm in free fall, negative 9.8, dropped, VI is 0. Looks like they also gave me time. And they want D. I think I can go D equals VIT plus a half AT squared, although you could argue I didn't need to write the VIT because we're dropping. It's going to be 0.5 times negative 9.8 times 14.5. This actually gives me, and I should be fussy, I guess, a displacement, not a distance, which is why I'm pretty sure, did I end up above or below from where I started? I think it's going to give me a negative answer. Uh-oh, hang on, we're going to pause the video for a second. So now it's plug and chug. And this one's nice because the D is already by itself. 0.5 times negative 9.8 times 14.5. Anybody see the typo that I made in writing? Most common mistake. Kids forget the squareds. They're so proud because often the squared is the last thing in the equation, Luke, and they're so proud. They've got all the numbers there, and they let their guard down right at that last second, and they forget to write that. So don't be that one, or they forget to hit it on their calculator. Did you get, wow, that's a big cliff. Yeah, I wanted to make the numbers interesting. Negative 1,030. If you said negative, that's fine. Technically, a height is positive, but I'm not going to be fussy. This cliff is 1,030 meters high. Okay, 2 marks. I would give you, as usual, 1 mark for the equation, half mark for the numbers, half mark for the answer. But Derek, if you got it right, you get 2 out of 2. That one, some of you may, because the D was already by itself, you might have felt comfortable going straight to your calculator without writing out the numbers. Although on a test, or a quiz, I always write out the numbers just to hedge my bets. In my homework, yeah, I try and go straight to my calculator. What's the impact velocity? That's V final, which is not 0. You know what? I think I can use VF equals VI plus AT. I could probably use that distance as well to find V final, but that'll work. Oh, and VI is 0. That's quite convenient. It's going to be negative 9.8 times 14.5. I will get a negative answer, which is good because when it hits the ground, I think it is traveling downwards. Oops, hit a decimal there accidentally. Delete that. Negative 142.1. Yeah, I'll go 3 sig figs. And meters per second. Same deal. 1 mark, half mark, half mark. How many sig figs should I go to in this question? Yeah, 3 sig figs. 14.5 is 3 sig figs, so 3 sig figs. But again, I'm not going to be fussy on the sig figs. What is the velocity after 6.4? You know what? Here, I think A is still negative 9.8. VI is still 0. But this time, they've changed my time value to 6.4. So it's going to be the same equation, VF equals VI plus AT. It's going to be, oh, don't need the VI. It's going to be negative 9.8 times 6.4. Negative 62.7? No, yes? Yep. Same deal. 1 mark, half mark, half mark. How far has the ball fallen after 8 seconds? So now the time is going to be 8 seconds. They want a distance. I think I could, a displacement. I can use D equals VIT plus a half AT squared. I think I can go 0.5 negative 9.88 squared. You get negative 314 if I round off properly. Again, if you said positive, that's, I guess, okay. Although here, this isn't asking for a height. How far it is below us, I would probably prefer the negative, Luke. If you said negative 313, I would take a half mark off, and I would say, learn to round off properly. There's a 6 next to the 3. It should become a 4. Same old, 1.5, 0.5. And then we go to the next page. Ball is thrown straight up. I guess VI is positive 36. I know it's in free fall, so A is still negative 9.8. It wants me to find a time. How long? And it wants me to find the time at the top. This is not enough. Right now I only have 2 things. You may have noticed all of these equations, Taylor, have 4 variables, and really it's if you know 3, you can find the 4th. There must be a 3rd thing that I know at the top. What else do I know at the top for a split second? Yep. That's the only time when VF is 0. At the top, never on the ground. I think I can go like this. T equals VF minus VI over A. Yes, I think. 0 minus 36 divided by negative 9.8. 0 minus 36 divided by negative 9.8. Do you get 3.673? How about 3? I'm going to go 3.7 seconds. If you said 3.67, that's okay. But I'm looking, this should be the 2 sig figs, Derek, because of the 36. You awake? Okay. What did I just say the answer was? Am I awake? 3.7 seconds. Same deal. 1 mark, half mark, half mark. Maximum height. Are we still, Mason, at the top? Then I'm not going to bother re-deficking. I'm not going to bother relisting my data. I have it all in part A. I'm just going to go D equals question mark, and I could use the time and go D equals VIT plus a half AT squared, but I'm a good test writer. I'm going to hedge my bets. I think I'm going to use D equals VF squared minus VI squared all over 2A, because that's what they gave me in terms of data. So I'm going to go via 0 squared minus VI, 36 squared all over 2 times negative 9.8. 0 squared, I guess I didn't really need to type that, minus 36 squared divided by 2 times negative 9.8. I get a positive height because I am above. Did you get 66.1? I'm going to go 66 to 2 sig figs. You know what? I'm kind of curious. If I had gone via 36 times 3.7 plus 0.5 times negative 9.8 times 3.7 squared. I missed a 3. Oh, that'll help. 36, thank you. VIT plus a half AT squared. I should be close to the 66 point, and I am. Even only to 2 sig figs, I'm pretty good. You know what? I'm pretty sure my time value is right. Yay! Isabella smiles. She says 1 mark, half mark, half mark. Isabella, how many marks is part C worth? How many?
1.
How many was part B worth?
2.
How about part A? I'll bet you 1 mark means you can get the answer doing no work by just thinking about it. And you can. VF is going to be negative 36 meters per second, because are we starting on the ground? Yeah. Are we ending on the ground? Yeah. Then what goes up must. Touché. How long is the ball in the air for? I can do this in 2 ways. I can take my answer from A and times it by 2. And because I know I'm right, I might do that. Or I can go like this. VI is 36. VF is negative 36. That's why I did part C before part D. A is negative 9.8. I could also go T equals VF minus VI over A. I'll do it both ways. It's going to be negative 36 minus 36 all over negative 9.8. $7.3. I'd take 7.3. I probably would take 7.4 because I think if you use the 3.7, that's what you'll get. Yes? So I'm going to go 7.3, but I'll put or 7.4 seconds. Okay. Isabella, E, how many marks is it worth? Probably because there's a way to get this without doing any fancy schmancy. I know it wants you to find D, but how high were you when you started? On the ground? And when you finished, you were on the? So what was your change in position? So what was your displacement? Yeah. By the way, you could have gone like this. D equals VF squared minus VI squared all over 2a, and you would end up going negative 36 all squared, which is positive 36 squared, minus 36 squared. You'd get a 0 on the top, and you would actually calculate a 0, but oh, for Pete's sakes. Let's be clever. Turn the page, you say, Taylor? Let's turn the page. VI is 24. A equals negative 9.8. They gave me a time, 12. How high is the cliff? Well, I think D equals question mark. VIT plus a half AT squared. That'll get me there. It's going to be 24 times 12 plus 0.5 times negative 9.8 times 12 squared. Are we ending up above or below from where we started? I think I'm going to get a negative answer here. If I do, I'm not going to freak out. I'm on a cliff. Where I would freak out if I was starting on the ground and getting a negative answer, because that would somehow say that it had sunk into the ground like quicksand or something, and I don't think so. I hope I get a negative answer. Do I? Ha-ha! I'm going to go negative 418, but negative 417.6 is what I would accept as well. And again, if you, Kareem, on this line, if you chucked the negative, because height is technically a scalar, I'd be perfectly fine with that too. Same as before, 1 mark, half mark, half mark. What is the maximum height of the ball? Isabella, how many marks is this worth? I bet you this might involve 2 steps. Are you starting to figure out how I create my tests and do my marking scheme? So they want the maximum height. I think the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to find how high the ball gets above the cliff. Okay? I'm going to say VI was, what was VI? 24. A was negative 9.8. Can I use a time of 12 seconds here? Can I use time equals 12? No, because the 12 was going up, coming all the way, here's the cliff. Going up, coming all the way back down and hitting the ground below. I don't know how long it took to get to the top, so I can't use T. Did I say to the top? I know something about the top. What else do I know when I'm at my highest point for a split second? That's why in the lab you guys did last day where you're calculating your hang time, I had to keep coming back to that. Well, I know VF at the top is 0. That's how we were able to figure everything out and kind of reverse engineer everything. That's our handy dandy little thing that we know. I think I'm going to go D equals VF squared minus VI squared all over 2A, I think. Which is going to be 0 squared minus 24 squared all over 2 times negative 9.8. 0 squared minus 24 squared divided by bracket 2 times negative 9.8, close bracket. 29.4. And that's not the answer. That's how high the ball is above the cliff. Did I say cliff? I'll call it H max, is going to be 29.4 plus, how high was the cliff? 418? And now I'll make the height positive, because we're measuring from the ground. So I'm going to say 447 meters. If you wanted to go 447.4, you could. I would give you 1 mark for that, half mark for that, half mark for that. So if you stopped there, if you said the answer was 29.4, you get 2 out of 3, and then I would give you a half mark for cluing in that you needed to add it together, and a half mark for the answer. Now, Hayden, if you got the wrong height of the cliff, but you dropped it down here and you added it to this, I would give you a half mark and 1 mark. I would give you full marks for that little section, even if you botched some of the other stuff. Okay? So that one's worth 3. Number 4. I guess VI is 92. No, VI is not 92. Good gosh, Duke. VI is 24. A is negative 9.8. Look up. That's wrong. Why is that wrong? I have to do that. I have to do that. I'm ending up below from where I started. Below from where I started. And I want to find, well, I think I'm going to use VF squared equals VI squared plus 2AD. And how to get rid of a squared? Square root. It's going to be the square root of 24 squared plus 2 times negative 9.8 times negative 92. 24 squared plus 2 times negative 9.8. Did I say 98? 9.8 times. So if you missed the negative for the 92, if you just put a positive there, you're going to end up taking the square root of a negative, and your calculator is going to give you an error. That's the universe. Mine says non-real answer. That's the universe saying, I can't do this in the real world. You told me it fell downwards. It accelerated downwards at negative 9.8 and ended up above us. I can't do that. So if you get a calculator error, what's the first thing you go back and check? Check your negatives, check your positives, and especially if you're on a cliff, check your displacement. Your displacement should be negative. Negative, where's my negative? 92. And I can take the square root of that, and I get 48.8. And this is wrong. And this is why I said careful. Why is this wrong? Derek. Okay, what's the square root of 9, Derek? No, it's actually negative 3 or 3. Isn't it? What's the square root of 25? And in math, we typically have just always said take the positive answer. In physics, when we take the square root, Gabriella, we have to look at the situation and we have to ask, hey, are we traveling up or are we traveling down? Now, thankfully, hopefully all of you can realize we are heading down, but catching that, Hayden, picking up on that is, oh, I got to pay attention here. That's why I said careful. I like this question. I like this question. I like this question. Negative. Negative. So I would go like this. 1 mark, half mark, half mark. If you missed the negative, if you said that VF was 48.8, I'd give you 1.5 out of 2. You have 2 options here. You can use the quadratic. You can say, oh, my displacement is negative 92. VI is 24t minus 4.9. That's a half of negative 9.8. T squared. You could say, what kind of an equation is this, Hannah? Hannah would say it's a quadratic. I would say, how do I know? Because it's got a squared. You could say, how do I solve a quadratic? Make it equal to 0. I've just learned how to do that in math. And so you could go negative 4.9 t squared plus 24t plus 92 equals 0. You could plus the 92 over, and then you could go t equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Or those of you that spent the extra $2 that I advised at the beginning of the year and have a quadratic solver, you could use your quadratic solver and get a root, and that all works. Or, what did we just find in part A? Hello, people. What did we just find in part A? VF. You could go VF equals VI plus AT equals VF minus VI over A. And you could say, okay, I've got VF. It's negative 48.8 minus what was VI? 24 all over negative 9.8. Bracket negative, answer button. There's my negative 48.8. Wasn't that clever? Wasn't that clever? Minus 24 divided by negative 9.8. Regardless if you use the quadratic formula correctly, if you use a quadratic solver correctly, or if you do this, you'll get the same answer of 7.4 seconds. That's how long until it hits the ground. That includes going up and coming back down. Okay? If you got that 2 out of 2, if you use this right-hand method, I would go 1 mark, half mark, half mark. If you use the quadratic formula, I would probably go something like 1 mark, half mark, and then a half mark for the roots. Could you give your... Yeah? 3A? That one there? Did I do 3A wrong? Okay, I'll come and look at your work in just a second. Don't clear your stuff. Any other... Look, first of all, let me pause. Well, hang on. First of all, I have to say, could you give yourself a score out of 25, please? A nice big score at the top out of 25. Now I'll pause the video, and I'll do my usual...